Hello everyone and welcome back to another Babbling Irons video and match preview time. Lincoln away in the Carabao Cup, a cup that we've seen some really poor results in recent history. I mean, thinking of a few years ago, Oxford away, losing 4-0. It wasn't fun. And the team we put out that year wasn't even bad either. So it's not going to be an easy test. We're going to break down exactly why in this preview because Lincoln are not going to be a rollover, especially away from home. But yeah, before we kind of get into the video, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and yeah, let's preview the Lincoln game. So let's start with kind of Lincoln City's breakdown in League One, of course. Don't let that deceive you. It's not going to be an easy game, but they are sitting in 13th right now after 8 games. They've won 3, drawn 3, and lost 2. So kind of in the middle. They're not kind of exceeding expectations, pushing towards the top of League One. But as I mentioned, it's very early days. So do not write them off because we've done that in the past against teams and we've made it look very difficult. I mean, Kidderminster away as well, another example of just how close we left that game. And they were a non-league team. So don't go into this with the mindset it's going to be a walkover because it isn't. And, we saw in the Europa League last week, going 1-0 down to a team we shouldn't have gone 1-0 down to. So it does happen. And we're going to be playing away from home. And Lincoln are unbeaten at home this year in the league. They haven't lost in their first 3 games at home. So it's not going to be an easy game. It really isn't, especially with the rotation we're probably going to bring in. But yeah, let's kind of break down more of the statistical point of view of Lincoln so far this season and what we can kind of expect from them in coming into this match. So looking at their kind of goals and goals conceded, expected stats, not even expected, actual stats, they're scoring 1.5 goals a game, which is pretty high, pretty decent as well. And they're only conceding 1.1 goals a game. So they do concede goals, but not in the masses. And, they've got no problem scoring at the moment from their first 8 games. They've scored, some very good at 12 goals. So, yeah, they will create chances. They play kind of a 3-4-2-1 system, and their front three is very fluid. And we're going to break down those stats in a minute. But yeah, they do play that 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1, however you want to kind of interpret it. But one thing they don't do is, boss possession. They're kind of similar to us in that sense. This season, they've only averaged kind of like 39% possession in the league. So there's someone that's happy to sit off. There's someone that's happy to break, just as we are. So it's going to be interesting to see how we approach it because I would suspect Lincoln will give us the ball. And we've already seen, for the past 2-3 years under David Moyes, when we do have the ball, we aren't the best. We very much struggle to break teams down. So it's going to be an interesting battle if we do kind of have possession and retain it, and Lincoln are happy for us to have it, and they actually do what we try to do to teams, which is counter attack and exploit the spaces. So that from that point of view, it's very interesting. It's very rare that West Ham boss possession, and as I mentioned, when we do boss possession, it's very much limitless in terms of what we can do. But yeah, Lincoln City away, you'd expect us to create some chances if we do have the ball, but we have to be very careful defensively because they're going to look for those turnovers. And defensively, as I'll get onto very shortly, we aren't the best and we don't keep many clean sheets. So in their front three, I might butcher this name, but they have Daniel Mandra and Hackett Fairchild. They kind of play as the left and right off of Ben House up top. So it's been a pretty fluid front three from them, to be honest. And a lot of their goals and assists have actually come from those 2 supporting players. They both have 2 goals each so far this season. Mandra has 3 assists. Fairchild has 2 assists. So a lot of their goals and assists are actually coming from those 2 players. And, Ben House hasn't been the one scoring or assisting as much as the goals. But we've got to be very careful of that because, again, in those turnovers, in those moments where we lose possession, when we're caught upfield, they're going to look to exploit those spaces. And we have to be very, very careful how we recover because I suspect, again, Alvarez probably won't be playing. So we don't really have that anchor. We saw that on Thursday night in the Europa League. We missed that anchor. And, all it takes is one mistake, like Ogbonna did. And you find yourself 1-0 down. And, going away to Lincoln is going to be a much different game to that Thursday night where we were at home and, comfortable and on a big pitch. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be much tougher, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of turns out. But those are the kind of key 2 players to keep an eye on, especially Mandral, however you say. I'm sorry if I've butchered it. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, that's kind of how Lincoln will approach it and how their system kind of sets them up. But looking at West Ham side of things, it's not too promising either. I mean, from a defensive point of view, I really couldn't believe this statistic, but I also could at the same time. We haven't kept a clean sheet in our last 16 games. That's crazy. I mean, to not keep one clean sheet in that time frame, it's never a good thing. And I think I've often alluded to it on this channel is we never make it comfortable in a match. And this is the type of game you want to be making comfortable if you can. You give Lincoln a chance and they score, you make it very, very uncomfortable for yourself on that night. So, yeah, conceding in our last 16 matches isn't the best statistic. And to be honest, if I was a betting man, I would be betting on Lincoln to kind of score in this match because we just don't look comfortable. It doesn't matter who the opposition is; we will always give chances away. And if Lincoln are clinical and they take it in their moments, as David Moyes likes to play in moments, they might actually do a David Moyes to us and find a couple of really good, key chances and take them. So defensively, I'm a little bit worried. It'll be interesting to see how we line up because yeah, we rotated for Thursday night, and then we came back into Liverpool, and a lot of players played that we'd expected to play. But then there's the likes of Danny Ings, Cornet, Mubama weren't even on the bench, Kera, Mavropanos, a lot of these Fornals, a lot of these players didn't get that many minutes and haven't had that many minutes this season. So you would expect those types of players to come in. Whether he will keep the likes of Ogbonna going in rotation and Cresswell, I know he's picked up an injury, remains to be seen. It'll probably be Fabianski in goal. We know that because Ariel is now number one, but a lot of changes. It never really works out for West Ham when we make a lot of changes. It's very difficult to get into our flow, especially in a match where we're going to be expected to have a lot of possession and dominate the game. When you're making so many changes, it can often disrupt it. And I think we saw that on Thursday night in the Europa League, that, all of those changes that we made, it did really disrupt the flow of it. And we didn't really tick at all, especially in possession. So it'd be interesting to see what Moyes does because we do need to kind of rotate. This isn't a priority fixture for us. Beating Sheffield United next Saturday in the Premier League is after we've lost 2 Premier League games on the bounce. So this is kind of a rotating match. It's no disrespect to Lincoln, but if we rotate the match, we should still be expecting to win the match. There's a lot of players on the bench that are pushing or should be pushing for first team starts in the Premier League and Europa League. So, yeah, I mean, from that point of view, it's going to be an interesting battle. How we approach it, I think we will have a lot of the possession because Lincoln will give it to us. And they'll probably be looking at us saying they're quite happy for us to have possession based on how we actually play and how often we struggle to break teams down when they kind of sit in that low block and look to counter us. So, yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about this one because it does have the potential to be a banana skin. I mean, we've seen it so many times in the FA Cup over the years, and most recently the Carabao Cup, that we never make it easy. I mean, last year we went out to Blackburn at home on penalties, and yes, Blackburn were in the Championship at the time and doing well, but it's still a game you'd expect to win. It really is. So I don't know, man. I'm not too confident with it, but I do expect us to win the match. With everything considered, Lincoln aren't high flying in League One right now. They're kind of mid-table-ish, as I mentioned. The only thing that worries me really is how they're going to set up, and that is without possession. And their fans will be happy to do that because Premier League team coming, and it's actually naturally how they play. So they're not altering their style, which is maybe a slight scare for us because they're going to be used to how they play in that kind of low block. So in terms of a score prediction, I am still confident we should get the win. I'm going to go 3-1 West Ham. Again, don't think we'll keep a clean sheet, but I think we have enough in our kind of firepower to score a few goals and really break Lincoln down when we need to. It's going to be tough because we struggle to, but I do think we will, whether it be from set pieces, whether it be from a counter attack ourselves after we've scored a goal and, Lincoln are trying to come out and score themselves. I don't know. I think it will be 3-1. We've had a lot of 3-1s recently in matches, so I'm going to keep with the prediction and keep on theme with that. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you think we're going to win the match? What do you think the score's going to be? Let me know. And yeah, hopefully we can get the win and go through to the 4th round of the Carabao Cup because it would be nice to win a domestic trophy. And I'm just being a little bit greedy there after winning the Conference League last season. But yeah, that's going to be all for today, guys. Leave a like on the video if you are new, subscribe, and yeah, until next time, come on, you Irons.